Okay, folks, it was a slightly longer than anticipated break. We were waiting for aLive. He had just kind of disappeared, but after poking him on Skype, we got a hold of him. So yay! Now joining us here in the lobby, first map is going to be Cactus Valley. And the winner of this will fight Nurchio in the finals. And what's interesting, Darius points this out to me. Darius, for those who don't know, is our wonderful admin who's been making sure all these cups run so smoothly. Apparently, the only person this entire month to take a series off of Nurchio was ShoWTimE.
Oh.
I mean, he won. He's been to win the finals of like 2 of the 3 cups. That makes sense.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. We just don't see ShoWTimE as much as we do with these other guys.
No, we've not. And also, on that note, too, ShoWTimE almost didn't play today. He had actually contacted me yesterday saying he'd like to drop out of the cup because he was feeling kind of sick when he woke up. And I said, dude, you know, it's kind of last minute. We're not going to find replacements anyways. It'd just be a walkover. So just wait the day out. See if you feel better. If you let me know an hour before the tournament, you know, we're not going to be mad. There'll be no punishment or anything like that. So just sleep and see if you feel better tomorrow. So it's a good thing he did because he's qualified for at least $50 in prizing at this point, but maybe even goes on to the finals. And through history of Nurchio versus Protoss, much less ShoWTimE being that Protoss, there's a chance ShoWTimE could win this all. I'm truthfully interested to see if he can get past this semifinals to make that happen, though. In the bottom left, the German prodigy, it's ShoWTimE. Prodigy? Yeah, Prodigy. Yeah.
In the bottom right is the Red Terran. He is alive.
Now, it is to be said, like, aLive is a good player objectively, and IEM and blah, blah, blah. But here and now, he just beat Neeb, and he beat Neeb, like, really one-handed. Like, that was such a one-sided series, in my opinion. And I feel part of that was a little bit on Neeb. We talked about it, right? He's got the yips or whatever. Like, something's holding him back. We don't know what. Maybe ShoWTimE won't have that same problem, but the point is aLive, I think, probably still could have beaten Neeb even in best form. At least with how aLive has been playing recently. Less about Neeb and more about aLive.
Yeah. I mean, Neeb took one game, but it didn't look as strong as I think maybe ShoWTimE. Like, ShoWTimE for me is the consistent guy. That doesn't mean he's winning everything because he's not the best player in the world and the most consistent. But he's a very, very good player, and he's very consistent. It also, I think, helps. You know, I just talked.
So loud.
I talked about. Oh shit! Lost my train of thought. Oh god! Oh, that he doesn't show up in many events, so that kind of, in a way, helps balance out how consistent he is too. Because if someone shows up in 100 events, of course their results going to be a little more skewed than someone who shows up only for 5 events, right?
Yeah.
But it's still, like, no matter what, like, he's also, like, just as a person, like, I've never really talked to him. I've only ever seen him and heard about him, but he just also seems like a very consistent person too. Takes really good care of his health and mind and whatever. Anyways, I think that even if he ends up losing this series, it'd be, I think, still a bit of a stronger showing than Neeb, who can be very inconsistent game to game.
Oh, he can't save that SCV. If he lowers that depot, that probe's going to sit on it, which is scary to consider, but not going to be the case here. The pylon overcharge being the emphasis of this. A little bit of damage going to the depot, kind of gets it started. In the meantime, quick shoutouts to Shalasa for the 4-month resub. Poorly Informed hit us up for 34 months to say hi. And then 11BC2 just donated $40 to say keep up the great work. And please make sure to feed Buell 3 square meals a day. We'll keep that in mind. Thank you very much. The overcharge popping, though. The Cyclone's out. It's going to try and kill the pylon. Just needs vision on it. And the pylon, of course, can win out in some of these fights. But 10 seconds left until another overcharge is ready. And I would actually say ShoWTimE did not get enough damage done with this attack.
Well, because he didn't commit anything else to it, I don't think he really minds. Okay, they can't lose the militia core, though. All right. You know, it wasn't 2 probes, 3 pylons, 1 canceled, and 1 at depth trying to do something.
What build are you describing right now? Who does that?
What? That's what the all-in pylons are.
3 probes?
Oh, I said 2 probes and 3 pylons.
Oh, my mistake. I got that backwards.
Yeah, and then you cancel like either 1 or maybe 2 pylons, depending on how much you want to commit to it. And then you can get a zealot, or you can send the adept over. The point is, there was only 1 pylon,
Yeah.
and 1 probe. And I think, like, even if he had been forced to cancel, he wouldn't have cared either. He just would have moved the militia core back.
Well, actually, even if the Adept had been there a little bit earlier, that it may have been at least the damage to get the second depot. Like, it kind of sucks that he didn't even get that much for it and just trades out evenly at the end, which is ultimately an okay argument to make. But so the silliness for me hearing that, I'm like, because I'm actually considering you pull 3 probes to do this weird all in. Like, you actually disrupt your income so heavily doing that early on. But if that extra probe somehow guaranteed killing more units, like, is that worth it?
If 2 probes can't get the pylon down, you're just screwed anyway. It's like,
that's a good point. Like, yeah, if you haven't been able to do the job in 2, you're not going to do it in 3.
Yeah. This did not do a very good job.
No,
So
he cleans up the drop itself and cleans up the medevac shortly after. The Cyclone has to run away from the Nexus, and aLive, I mean, look at the resources lost. Normally this early on, it's going to be a little bit one-sided, but 800 in the hole, that's rough. For a probe and a pylon. Keep that in mind, guys. That's the context.
He really should not have
You know what?
pushed into that, but I don't think he realized there was a Stargate.
This is like a 1-1-1-1-1 in terms of, like, unique units that have died this game for aLive.
The Liberator's also pushed back. I'm not sure what he was thinking he was going to do with that. Again, like, a lot of these things that aLive wants to do, you would not even try, I think, if you automatically knew there was a Stargate. But I think the medevac could be explained that he didn't know there was a Stargate. The Liberator was just hopeful, I suppose. And had to stay at home. Third CC is on the way, but delayed a little bit. Even reaches for the Liberator to lose a Phoenix. That might have been a trade he really wanted.
I would say that's worth it, because now he doesn't have to worry about a Liberator coming across the map. And honestly, later on, these are a bit harder to dive for, because there's like 4 Widow Mines and way more Marines guarding them.
It is going to be Resident Enclaves and +1 on the way. So, typical Phoenix Adepts. We see, I want to say I see Phoenix Adepts almost all the time on Cactus Valley, where at least the other maps sometimes can play into Colossus, like Proxima or Newkirk. Like Cactus is always this. Some other Korean players have been trying to do this push that includes bringing a missile turret, like an SCV to build a missile turret. But I haven't seen it work yet. And I think aLive has already been slapped down a little bit too much to even try it. That was a mule included in that pickup. So very nice harassment coming out from ShoWTimE. He's also very quickly, like, he's not dedicating, it seems, to Resident Enclaves. He is very quickly adding on a robotics bay. And, well, that might cut into his Adept account a little bit too much if aLive really does feel like pressuring, is going to be a little bit ballsy here and push. It might just be perfectly fine. He might just have, yeah, enough anyway. Seems like he does. Oh, okay, that Widowmine shouldn't have gone off. That sucks. Good scan, though. Good scan by aLive.
Luckily, though, because he was falling back, you know, that Widowmine, yes, it goes off, and it takes away all the shields of the Adepts, but that's kind of where it stops. Given enough time here, their shields are ticking right back, and this might not be too big of a problem. But still, getting a unit, grabbing it randomly, as Nate was saying yesterday in the cast, is kind of just the job of the Widowmine, and it's cheap enough that you can trade with about anything and it'll be worthwhile. I
kind of like how ShoWTimE is playing this. So, Neeb did this on Abyssal Reef versus aLive. Realized that aLive wasn't going to get tricked or trapped, or whatever you want to say, by the Adepts, and went into Colossus and, you know, advanced his tech. But in a much longer game, ShoWTimE, I would say, like, didn't even really truly commit to the Resident Enclave Phoenix style. He just kind of was like, it was a stop along the way, I suppose, to his true commitment, which is Colossus.
How did he grab that second Widowmine? That thing was, like, already in the ground.
Magic. But his Colossus aren't out yet. Oh, no, one is. My bad. One is out. That will help with DPS. And it looks like it's still too scary of an army for aLive to try and push in here. Like, aLive.
Oh, here comes the Phoenix back at home to try and defend, though. Picks off one of the medevacs. 2 of them going to go down. The Colossus, a little bit exposed, but can't even be focused because he's so busy dealing with these Phoenix. No exit strategy for aLive. Means his army is destined to die, and this is going to be, well, devastating.
He didn't even kill them any Phoenix.
Didn't kill much of anything. He got, like, the mothership core and the pylon, and that was, like, it.
Yeah, that was a very bad job. But aLive is...
Oh, my God. You know what? That supply block ShoWTimE. Maybe it was worth it.
Yeah, right? I don't think so, man. aLive is playing well, I mean, overall a bad game, right? He's getting stopped at every single attempt to push in, but he's also kind of like... I feel like he's realized that ShoWTimE is not just going to overwhelm him with the depth, so he's tried to push. but he still doesn't have quite enough. And now that Colossus are out, he's just these pushes are going to look weaker and weaker as time goes on because he didn't bulk up an army and get to Vikings or get to Liberators. He's been kind of stuck on the Woodamine thing, and he tried to drop against Phoenixes. There was all types of bad ideas, and it still doesn't work.
On the back end of all of this, I just want to point out, ShoWTimE 71 probes, 4 bases, and like 8. No, not 8. Never mind. Like, I can't math. I saw the 9 and got confused. But he's like 4,000 minerals ahead, or resources lost ahead, I should say. So he's just really not been taking many losses this game in comparison to aLive, who has been taking 5 medevacs dead. Like that, normally you don't even see that many medevacs made in a TvP.
Yeah. I don't want to get too hyped about ShoWTimE, but he played a very, very calm, safe, good game. But it does also, it's like aLive played a very
played into his
game.
Clutches. He ran into the Phoenix in a couple of occasions. The drop was crazy.
He tried the Woodamine thing against the Adepts, but that didn't work. And then when he tried to do a drop against the Adepts, so that doesn't work because Phoenixes, take care of that. And then
GG.
Colossus suddenly appeared, and he was like, well, I really don't have an answer to that. And it just was a easy push from ShoWTimE to win that game.
Yeah, but it is only the first game in a best of 5, so we'll see if that's going to be how every game looks, or if maybe this was just the first one. There's an interesting question in chat that we've talked about this topic a couple times before amongst ourselves privately and publicly on stream. And what happens when StarCraft 2 is finished? What will BaseTradeTV do? I mean, maybe, right? That's actually it's a sad and morose but very realistic option that maybe we just end up disappearing. Samir has to go get a job as a waitress, and I live on the streets. But I think at the end of the day,
I got a job.
Yeah, but it's just a waitress. Nice college degree you got going for you.
I thought you were going to give an equivalent to you, but nope.
No, dog. I'm just going to find a cat. We're going to bunk up under the bridge. Pitch a tent, But, no, in all seriousness, like we've tried other games, and there's honestly not... I think it's a lot easier for me to find another game than Zombie Grub, for example. But that being said, like we played around with Overwatch a bit, and... I've considered other games, and really, at the end of the day, it's not just that the audience is there for StarCraft, but it's more fun. Like I cannot begin to describe how much I would not want to work in the Overwatch scene right now. The unprofessionalism is crazy. It's still such a new scene. A lot of people aren't used to a lot of this stuff, and like maybe we've been a little bit. We'll skip the intro because I want to talk about this. Maybe we've been a little bit spoiled by StarCraft, and like everyone kind of knowing what to do. And even though here we still have hiccups, it's way better than every other game. On the other side of it too, if you want to do something like say League of Legends, a lot of you might not realize how much red tape there is and how impossible it is to create something like BaseTradeTV in League of Legends. In fact, when BaseTradeTV first started, you guys, some of the old fans might remember Tower Defense TV, which was kind of our attempt to also do a League of Legends channel. And it was way more popular than StarCraft at the time. And this is back when StarCraft was still fairly popular. But immediately we were running into issues with Riot and not being allowed to do many things and a lot of red tape. So the sad reality is maybe when or if StarCraft dies, because I really don't think it's as dead as a lot of people like to meme it to be, maybe we do just disappear. But I think at the end of the day, what's nice is StarCraft has been something we've been fueling because we find it fun and enjoyable, and it's something we like. And I feel like as long as we can find another game like that, we could certainly have another I guess, go at creating tournaments, or maybe just having our community move over. But to be honest with you guys, and I'm going to be serious about this is not a question I have actually thought about for a long time. I would say last year, this question was on my mind like every day that I woke up. But we've seen such significant growth. We've had a lot of big sponsors get involved with BaseTradeTV more recently. I'm very happy with StarCraft 2. I wish it was bigger, absolutely. But we're doing just fine.
Yeah. I think the answer would either be StarCraft 3, or it's so far in the future that there's other opportunities outside of just casting.
You think this could be StarCraft 3?
I think it's almost guaranteed to be StarCraft 3 or Warcraft 4.
No, but anyways, I want to really just end on that point where like this is actually not a question I've worried about for a while. You look at the Corsair Cup. Last year, if we wanted to do this, we'd be going poor. We'd be going broke, taking out loans trying to put up this kind of prize money. Now we got sponsors throwing $400 at a monthly finals. We got Twitch and Corsair both sponsoring the channel. We were actually able to even afford to drop some sponsors in order to try and focus on our current sponsors more and better and dedicated. So I don't know. That's the end of that topic for now, I guess. We are getting into game. It's already far underway, and with the CC factory and a barracks already on the map, ladies and gentlemen, in the top left, it's aLive.
In the bottom right is the Road Protoss. It is ShoWTimE.
ShoWTimE, I remember there was the whole Millennium hiccup, and then left. And what's this Arma team he's on now? I don't actually have any idea.
Oh, I don't know anything about it.
I'm googling. I thought he joined up with some French guy who had also left Millennium. Yeah, playing for Arma team. This is an actual team, with him and Daishi being the only players on the roster.
Yeah, wasn't it something like that was kind of like Acer, to be honest, where it was a lot of the same management?
Arma team is the team of French esports veteran Remy Chasson. I'm probably saying that wrong. Former director of Web TV at Millennium. Having a rich history in Warcraft 3, Lewis and Arma team announced the renewal on January 1st.
Oh, that was the old team. That's what it was. Okay. Yeah, it was like an old team that was resurrected. But I still think it was by a lot of the same management, though. Like, there was an internal discussion amongst, like, Millennium's members and, I guess, a bit of the behind-the-scenes guys, and they all agreed that they want to bring back this old team.
Yeah.
That's all conjecture, though. Don't quote me on it. The Acer thing, by the way, if those who don't know, I suppose, is like Expert is not just Acer in terms of like the players are a lot similar, but like
everything is.
Yeah, everything is similar. So.
This is an interesting tweet too. Sorry, just a comment while the game builds up. I don't think this was meant in a negative way, but I do want to talk about it. The prize pool isn't that big, but it's the same players as BlizzCon, and I am regarding the Corsair Cup today. And I don't know, I would actually, no, this is not thousands of dollars of prizing, all things considered, but throughout the course of the year, if you guys do the math, this comes out to be like, with admin fees included and players getting paid out for the monthlies and the weeklies, somewhere between like $9,000 and $15,000. So sure, it's spread out over a year, and it's not one big event like an IEM, but like happily we're able to inject this money into StarCraft 2 for all these players to come try and win. So I don't know, I would actually say that, you know, especially with monthly finals at hand, this is a fairly decent prize pool.
Yeah. This drop is once again pretty easily denied. Not as hardcore as the last game's Widowmine drop. But,
I like that attempt to walk the Widowmine into the natural, by the way. That was a really good kind of almost bait and switch move.
So I have a question. While maybe things are still ramping up here. ShoWTimE not going for Phoenix Adept, by the way, but just straight into Colossus. So there's been cases like you just explained, like why we don't do the other esports and all that, and it's absolutely true, and there's nothing really much to add except that, yeah, there's the you know, you talked about the big esports, the ones that are already defined. If you could choose a game that is not an esport really, like they might try a little, but it's not, you know, it's not happening. If it could actually become bigger, like up into the levels of fighting games or StarCraft 2 at the very least, what game would you choose to cast?
You know what? Like, it's funny you asked that, because for me, if this was like a hypothetical where we're kind of just like, yo, whatever, fantasizing, I wouldn't even choose to cast. I would love to just be able to casually play a game.
Okay, so like a streamer?
I guess. Like,
dedicated to a game.
Yeah. I've actually had a lot of fun. Maybe it's just because we've been doing it one way for so long and it was a taste of the other, but just kind of dicking around on H1Z1 with Nathanius has been some of the most fun I've had in like the last couple of years, to be honest. In terms of like what we're streaming. But I want to make this clear, it's not like I dread coming to cast StarCraft, and it's not like I don't enjoy doing this either. As far as games though, like if I could really go back, and this one's actually kind of popular, at least in Asia, Dungeon Fighter, man, that game is super fun.
Okay. I think we're gonna talk about that game with the mechs that you like to play. It's like an old person game with the mechs. Like your old YouTube used to do a lot of videos with it.
Oh, Titanfall?
Ah, there you go, yeah.
I still never played Titanfall 2. I really wish I did, and I feel like I missed out.
Okay. That's actually what I was thinking of, because I think I've heard that they're actually trying to do like a couple of tournaments, but it's not, you know, it's one of those, it's not happening kind of things, but anyways, okay, that's interesting. It's interesting. I had my own thought. Maybe you're going to have a fight soon, though? Maybe. Scanning for observers, going to try and go for an attack? No, he's going to go for the attack. I thought he was going to go for a drop.
Well, he was hardcore denied. 2 force fields don't seem like much, but that was actually enough to completely shut down the attack. Lest he stim in then and pick up the Colossus.
There we go. He's scanned twice now for observers. I mean, that's pretty expensive, especially if the drop doesn't end up working out, which it won't.
Oh, he's still losing one of mine. Oh, jeez.
Jeez. Oh, ShoWTimE's totally on top of aLive. Anyways, while he's pushed back, I was gonna say, I think there's another, like, there's a couple other games. Like, I really, for instance, I loved talking about Final Fantasy X because I play that game so often. Like, I was basically a pro at it. But that's like an esport, right? I legitimately think I'd have a lot of fun casting Age of Mythology. And to some extent, too, I guess Age of Empires if I would play it, because, they're kind of similar styles. But I think it's just the RTS way of casting is also my favorite. Like, I like fighting games, but can I ever imagine casting, like, a fighter game commentator? I don't think I could. It's so different. But for RTSs, as long as they're somewhat same pacing, I think that's the most I enjoy. And I really did like Age of Mythology. I sucked at it when I finally played online because there's these guys that have been playing for the last 10 years that just like you're just never gonna beat. But
I love chat, by the way. They responded with their answers, of course, what they would like to cast. And whatever Mark says, any of the 2D Worms games. Yo, Worms is such a good like dick over your friend game. Like I actually had so much fun playing that with friends. Yeah. The Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch. Hallelujah.
Yeah, I kind of like Halo team games too, but whatever. That's gonna get higher by MLG.
There's a lot of people saying the new Halo Wars is gonna be like the new RTS, but it's kind of like I don't know. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't be. But for example, for years, how many times have we heard people saying this will be the new WoW killer? This will be the next thing to stop WoW. Like, I don't think it should be in terms of like you're trying to overcome another game. You should just make a good game, and if it's good enough, then it'll kill the other games.
Yeah. This is a very strong Terran force.
I love that Widowmine drop. Oh no. So he dragged and dropped Widowmines on top of the Colossus, which was really cool to see. Maybe aLive is still going to win this fight through the Concave. Guardian Shield's helping reduce a lot of that damage, but Marauders looking to finish off these Colossus, dive through, get killed. The overcharge is good for the defense. aLive still got more supply, and he's not done with the fight just yet.
Well, don't forget his third base is being stalled out, and the Marauders are being stimmed to death, so the Colossus end up taking them out. Nothing but medevacs left over, and that was a very clutch defense. ShoWTimE probably could have focused fire the Vikings a little bit more, really. It was right before he had Blink, and that certainly hurt, too. I think he held on well enough.
I like him going back in right away, actually. Most of the times, I think this would be a bad move, but he knew just how badly injured ShoWTimE was from that attack. So as he stims it, he picks off the Colossus. Almost walks back into the Disruptor. I don't know what that was about. That was a little bit awkward, but the Vikings get picked off, and sure, he loses a medevac in a couple. Well, okay, he's going to lose all his medevacs for us. Never mind.
This is probably the game.
Losing
has a fourth base, man.
Yeah. I was going to say, though, like, had those medevacs lived, had he killed the second Colossus, too, I think this was more than justified. But now he's got an awkward amount of bio. No real support for them either.
He scans the fourth, and it's not done. So I guess aLive still thinks he has a chance, but I don't think he does.
Reading a lot of the responses in chat, I was just thinking, you know what would be the most boring game to cast?
Civilization?
Yes.
Yeah, because I thought about that, and while it's fun, and I do like talking about however much I've learned about the game, there's no way you're going to cast it.
Yeah.
There's a ton of games I think that are very interesting looking that are trying to get in esports right now, but I'm kind of with you, like, just make a good game, and then if I play it and learn about it and I like casting it, maybe it'll come up naturally. And, I'd like to try it, but I'm not gonna dedicate to it.
ShoWTimE's now up 2-0, and we'll go to a commercial break in a moment. But to get caught up really quick, Wired1 was a 26-month resub, says, I love you guys. I wish David Kim would give the Terran a buff, but I'm greedy. But then we had $5 come from GI5_SC2, and you're going to quickly learn how little Rifkin knows about Spanish as I try to read this out, okay? I'm just going to go with confidence on this. Una pequeña olla para su canal de Twitch. Gracias por los temoyos. Saludos Dios Peru. Or maybe it's Peruvian and not Spanish then. I don't know. Either way, it's not English and I don't speak it, but hopefully that was close enough. I hope the confidence at least made it sound convincing. Either way, thank you for the $5. That plus the $40 we got earlier is going to be forwarded over to our Mega Tournament Fund, which we still have running in the background of everything we do. ! And Mega in chat will link you directly to it. I think we're coming up on $7,000 now, which is awesome. Most of which has been generated from you guys on stream. But we're going to go to a break, and we'll see you guys here in 2 minutes. All right, we do return from that commercial break, and thank you guys for watching it. Now we get a silly intro queued up to go because we're hopping to Abyssal Reef for Game 3. aLive is on his last life, and we'll see if he can bring it back or if he just dies trying here in this final map.
So I'm not one to talk, and I didn't want to say anything, but I guess chat is saying that, you know, Peru speaks Spanish.
Does it? I don't know. I just saw Peru at the end of it, okay? So... This is one of those things where I really do not care about being ignorant about, because there was no, like, maliciousness with it. There was just like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Like, a lot of people think Chinese is a language, but it's called Mandarin. Hello? Like, wake up, sheeple. Mandarins are also oranges, and they are delicious. Anyways, we're going under the sea, and we'll see you guys soon. Up in the sun, they rage all day. Alright, we are in game number 3 for this best of 5. Winner of this will move on to fight against Nerdshio in the grand finals, so one more best of 5 after this one. To the top left, we've got the red Terran coming from Korea. It's aLive.
In the bottom right is the blue Protoss. It's ShoWTimE.
Ooh, I forgot about this. Going back to the casting stuff, people want to talk about Dawn of War in chat. That game would be actually really fun to cast. I am like a closet Warhammer fan in terms of I'm too poor to afford Warhammer. But the online games, I actually really enjoyed playing Dawn of War and such. Dawn of War 2 was the expansion pack for that one. I can't remember the name. That was actually really, really good.
Nah, I never got into any of that.
Well, for me,
I mean, the games look fun, but
I've loved the like almost like over the top, super like zealous religious connotations to their subservience of the Emperor. I guess.
You like the lore?
I don't want to say the lore though, because the lore for the game is really not that interesting. But the way the Marines are, it is to me.
Okay. I only ever really was interested in Blood Bowl. I thought that was funny and cool.
Well,
But
so
yeah,
to be
not
clear,
Warhammer.
like Warhammer figures are cool on all this. I'm talking about like the actual game though, that's like available.
Yeah, I know
on
you're
Steam and
talking about the
stuff.
game.
And for me, I was sold the second I was like, oh, this looks a little bit like it's like a slow playing StarCraft. But then like the units are fighting and I'm just hearing them die and they're like, for the Emperor, and, like chainsaws are going off. I'm like, yes, this game is great.
It sounds pretty cool. Well,
Was he gonna proxy, do you think?
he might just proxy. I mean, you know, it would be kind of a late proxy. It would be just the complete surprise factor, not really ending the game.
So my thoughts are, if you're gonna do the pylon push, right, you keep it a bit closer. But I guess he really didn't want this caught by anything weird like a Reaper or otherwise. So yeah, the probe's a little bit further away and it looks a little bit awkward, but that Reaper's still there. So I don't know if he's gonna get up here to put that pylon down.
I don't think so. His mothership core is coming across the map, but it's just...
Oh, he gets it. Is that in range of the reactor?
Yes. I was gonna say that the Marines weren't started. If they were, they probably could have helped out just in the nick of time to kill this pylon. Oh, it's not gonna be useful anyway.
I like the cancel, but
it.
more to the point, I like the surround out of aLive, taking this absolutely serious and not messing around with the defense. This actually sends the mothership core back home. I don't know if the Adept will still be able to carry through for much, but this also means that, yeah, now he's got some breathing room, which will be really nice.
Of course, anticipating the Oracle follow-up, and while that was not proxied, it is still on the way. So the Viking won't be useless.
World of Tanks, Zombie Grove.
It's the new thing to cast, man.
Look, I already don't enjoy TvT as is. I don't want to play a whole game that is only TvT.
Look, if World of Tanks is like TvT, I'd already be on board. Just because it has tanks in the name.
Someone in chat wants to know if we would compile a list of map intros. Actually, most of our map intros are available on YouTube. I tend to upload them, so you can find most of them on our channel, youtube.com/BaseTradeTV. There's the plug. Also, I guess worth noting, if you guys ever miss VODs, if you don't want to subscribe to the channel to get VODs, I think right now, temporarily, our subscriber-only VODs are disabled, and anyone can access them, but generally speaking, usually here on Twitch, they're subscriber-gated. But on YouTube, it's obviously free, so you guys can always head on over to our YouTube if you miss any of the action. I know we would appreciate it, and so would Joey.
Of course, bringing up Warhammer has brought up the whole StarCraft and Warcraft. It's really
Also,
just Warhammer.
I'd like to just point something out here, okay? People are always giving me crap for derailing the cast, and sometimes I do, and it's in silly and dumb ways. But the ultimate derailing of a cast is when somebody tries to start talking to you about casting another game and getting into other games. So, I'm just throwing it out there. It's not always Rifkin, guys, okay?
I just derailed to talk about StarCraft and Warcraft and Warhammer. And the lore accusations, I guess, and the design accusations that usually come with it.
That feel when it's not about casting the other games for money, but you realize some of them might actually have a balance team that knows how to do its job.
What? No, I wouldn't say that. I have no idea, but the game.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you know what? Like, all of this talk about casting other games, it's not about surviving or not staying on the streets. It's just like, can you imagine that world where you're in this community where the company listens?
I feel like I already know the answer is that as much crap as StarCraft gets, there's not many other games that are up and coming as esports, quote unquote, that actually have good balance. Like they're worse, much worse. Anyway, this game, I mean, they're joking aside about going off the rail and whatever, it's a very macro-oriented game. The fast third base, Stargate opener into Adepts, and of course aLive going for zone third base too, because I think he learned his lesson from the first game, and this is what he did against Neeb too in the third game, is that, or in the first game of that series on Abyssal Reef, is that his early pressure isn't going to work. I mean, maybe it could if he would find a damn opening, but ShoWTimE did not give him one in Cactus Valley, and he's probably not going to find one here, so be a little more conservative and macro-oriented, get that third base finished up, and then try and poke and prod, but, be very, very careful about it.
Yep. Again, people are still asking about the map intros. Guys, I wasn't kidding. Like, they're all on our YouTube. So, youtube.com/BaseTradeTV, just search, like, Abyssal Reef and stuff like that. You'll find it. I know we tweeted about it a while ago, too. StarCraft even retweeted it. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, when we do our videos, I'm proud of them, so I put them on YouTube for everybody to access, even if we're not streaming live. Although, to be perfectly clear, a lot of the music we use is original or licensed. So if you guys ever try and steal and use it on your own, you're probably going to get in a lot of trouble for it. Not even just from us, because fuck, I'm going to report you the shit out of you if you steal our content. But secondly, bigger music companies will probably get mad at you.
Yeah.
Licensing music is expensive and not fun, but hey, I like the map intros.
So ShoWTimE did not go very quickly into Robotics Bay, rather. In fact, he hasn't gotten into it at all. He really has this game dedicated to Adepts and Phoenixes. That might be a mistake. aLive is playing to this style specifically this time. He's got missile turrets set up, he's got bunkers, he's not pushed out with any type of army. Technically the 1-1 drop or whatever, and I don't think this will work by ShoWTimE.
No, this is, well, I mean, 30 Adepts, though, is still 30 Adepts, and at the end of the day, these things can fight really well. But I don't see that many Widow Mines. I mean, there's 5 of them, but I think it'd be really difficult for ShoWTimE to mess up that badly, you know?
Yeah, they're spread around the map, and while aLive had his third base totally on lockdown, and you wouldn't think the natural would be susceptible, being, that little tiny choke right there, it does end up being a huge weak point, and ShoWTimE managed to still turn us into a very awkward engagement. aLive was supposed to be prepared for this.
He can't, if he tries to push through this, aLive is going to be met with a concave of Adepts, and if he tries to leapfrog the Liberators forward, well, that's where the Phoenixes really come into play, but now realizing where those Widow Mines are and sees the number of them, he can't go to the top of that ramp. Command Center's been pushed off. It's not dead yet. There is an Observer out. It's really low, but if he can snipe off the Widow Mines, then he can continue into the main. But 5 Widowmines at the top of this ramp, if ShoWTimE goes in, he's going to have a really bad time. So even just running in with a Phoenix to lift him up might be the choice instead of the Adepts. Either way, though, aLive he's found a way to turtle in 2 different fronts. ShoWTimE is on 3 bases, granted, behind this, but there's not really a plan B. This is all in. This is meant to kill and win and make this a 3-0 and go on to the grand finals.
At this rate, though, it could be a follow-up. He's got to deny that third base from getting any mules, I guess, because it's landed now, but...
Oh, my God.
He could this up and said commits underneath the Liberators.
Is a bunker a light unit suddenly? Because it looked like it took all bonus damage from this many Adepts, but the Liberators get cleaned up. The Widowmines actually get a fantastic shot and almost clean up all the Phoenix, but 2 bases down, aLive down to 24 SCVs? I don't know.
Well, aLive still has an almost even army supply, but you really wouldn't be able to tell it. I don't know. I mean, he still gets the 3rd broken. His natural is still broken. You landed out of 4th, and it's awkward. Very awkward.
That income graph, though, is so brutal to look at. But yeah, I guess aLive, his army's good enough that he can still fight for sure. It's still just rough having taken the losses that he did, nonetheless. Also, who was that? Gareth Lewin! Gareth, you wonderful guy. 13 is a bad luck number. Spoopy. Gareth, thank you very much for resubbing for 13 months, man. I hope you've been well. And I hope you've been having a good time living life. But anyways, this command center is lifted once again, and these Adept transfers, what I'm most worried about is he doesn't know about these Widowmines. They have limited vision. He's gonna maybe transfer and give me a heart attack. Oh my God.
I don't think there's any reason to transfer. I could even say that about when he transferred to the 3rd base. I still think he could have had a really good macro game, but especially denying the 3rd base. I think he just can play to the macro game now. He already had a 4th base finish up. He was late to his tech, however. Like, he only just adding on Robotics Bay. 1 Colossus at a time, very slow. aLive might get, a bit of a backbone here and actually push out. And that could be dangerous for ShoWTimE. But he just needs to buy a little bit more time for double Colossus.
I mean, so all things considered, 37 Adepts are like the failure of an all-in, quote-unquote. But... this is the fodder he'd want to have for the army anyways. He would otherwise make these Adepts just in a different order. So yeah, falling back off of this, not out of the question, but these Adepts running around. aLive already has a very limited income as his.
ShoWTimE needs more time, however.
I don't know if he does, though.
I don't think his Adepts would necessarily cut it against his army. He's trying to get to Colossus, and I think he already has 1 somewhere. There it is. But is it enough? No, maybe it is. It is 20 army supply up on even upgrades. Actually, almost about to have +2 here for ShoWTimE.
If he eats the Widowmines, maybe this goes badly then. But
the
power of the Adepts, though. So here's the power of the Adepts versus the power of what aLive has going for him, right? aLive could never move from his 3rd into the main or into the natural because this choke was working against him. Transfer lets ShoWTimE actually move through the chokes and not get caught in them. So that's why I think breaking out of this is a lot more feasible. But my God, he sees the Widowmines. I know he does. He's gonna split. He's gonna go with the transfer. I guess hoping splash damage is gonna be good. It killed the Widowmines and killed the Liberators.
Even if he didn't, I guess it'd still be game over. But damn, that was like some BM on top. GG.
Ladies and gentlemen, ShoWTimE will secure this series 3-0 and move on to the grand finals where he'll face against Nurchio in one last best of 5 today. It is worth noting, really quick, aLive will walk away with $50 for prizing, so he's not totally out of it. I'm glad he came to play. But the ZVP Finals is one that is something that should be, in every way in my mind, I'll even say like a 3-0 for ShoWTimE. Like, Nurchio's versus versus Protoss is tilting, for sure. It's been public and obvious. Combined with the fact that this is ShoWTimE of all people, I am actually really worried for Nurchio in this finals. And this might be one of the only times you can say that because he's such a good player in every other matchup.
I agree. I think it might just be a 3-0. I'm gonna give it 3-0. Yeah, I don't think Nurchio's the type of player that I'm just like, well, there might be a Ravager all in that can work.
Well, we'll see if he can make it happen or not. Guys, we don't have a lot of crazy ads to throw at you, but we are going to go to a commercial break here for some Twitch ads. If you want to watch them, we'd really appreciate it. Stick around and sit tight for those finals. However, I must once again advertise for the core sponsor, the main sponsor, Corsair. Whoops, pointing the wrong direction. There we go. Corsair Because without them, this tournament wouldn't have existed. If it didn't go on for the year that it did, we probably wouldn't have had Twitch get involved and give us more money for it, making the tournament bigger and better, and making these monthly finals a possibility to even have in the first place. So please, if you're not considering subscribing to the channel, but you do want to get some cool gear and some upgrades, whether it's headsets, RAM, keyboards, otherwise, please click the links down below, as we will get percentages of your purchases through them. Plus, it shows Corsair that, hey, yeah, our advertising money is being spent well on these guys. Healer SC just hit us up for 14 months, though, before we go to that break, says Forehead makes 2 kinds of units and wins easy peasy. Forehead, thank you, DK. I don't know what you guys think Donkey Kong has to do with this, because it's all David Kim, all right? We'll see you guys in a couple minutes.